we fucking go! You're listening to Bread and Circuses.
Was like the mob media, for one, is the entire world populated. Like everybody's on Twitter. Fucking the UK is on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
unfortunately.
With Caleb Salvatore.
Well, they can't go to the comedy shows because there's a 2-drink minimum, and you can't mix the Percocet you've been stealing from work with liquor.
And Nick Koehler.
There literally be people in the fucking 80s that didn't know that nutting in a girl would make her pregnant.
No one's asked that question. What did those families do to provoke Alex Jones like that?
You know what'll solve all of these racial police protests? A Pepsi.
What the fuck is up, friends? Welcome to Bread and Circuses. We're here with our guest, Travis Scott.
Hey, yo, what's up? I'm Travis Scott. What's up, man? I'm from Houston, Texas.
So, Travis, how do you feel about the 8 people that died at your show?
Yo, man, fuck them. They already paid my ticket, so fuck it.
That's right. He got
gotta
the
die
money
sometime.
So, like,
that's not really how Travis Scott talks.
No.
Hey, yo, what up? What up? What up? Yo, 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 row, 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 yo.
Right.
Travis Scott.
Well, a lot of people are like blaming him for that, and like I understand, but like those are people that have never.
Was it Ariana Grande's fault when her show had
When
a
it got
terrorist
bombed?
attack? Yeah, it's
No,
her fucking fault, dude.
It was just her fault when Mac Miller killed himself.
Yeah, that too.
Well, yeah, no shit.
Put her in jail.
Well, I mean, like my thing is like people they're mad because he kept playing, and I'm like, well, you probably don't.
Didn't even know. Dude.
No, dude,
like,
you can't see or hear shit when you're on stage. The bigger the show, the harder it is to see, unless it's directly in front of you. You can't see. There's so many fucking lights up there and shit.
What happened? Did people get killed in like a mosh pit?
It was
or something?
Crowd crush. Well, it was a crowd. They had like 50,000 tickets were sold. And then there's videos of other people like breaking down the barriers and running into the show. So the show that was already sold out, you had thousands of people breaching the fucking the campground, and security wasn't ready for that. They had you need like pepper balls and riot gear to be ready for something like that.
Literally.
So there was a crowd crush, and 8 people died. There were like 23 more sent to the ER. There were 11 people with cardiac arrest.
Yeah, that's not fucking his fault, man.
They're like, oh, the crowd was chanting, stop the show. I'm like, he cannot fucking hear that.
Yeah,
he can't.
He's probably got earplugs in to like
guarantee he's got earplugs.
If he's not, he's gonna go. But professional musicians go fucking deaf.
Yeah,
dude. Like.
Well, that's exactly. He's got earplugs in. He can't hear that. There's lights. There's explosions. There's music around him. He can't see or hear anything that's going on.
He's in his like performing zone.
Yeah,
too,
and it's Travis Scott. He's probably on drugs. Like, it's
maybe he's probably a little toasted a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him. Like,
now the event organizers should have known. They should have gone. That's their responsibility to stop the show and go on there and pull him off.
Yeah,
when the shit's going on, and go up there and make an announcement and try to get control of the crowd. But that's not Travis Scott's fault. He's in the middle.
Like I said,
set.
if you're gonna blame him, then you got to blame Ariana Grande for having a terrorist attack at her show.
That's
it's her fault. It's her fault.
Jason Aldean for the Vegas shooting. That's also his fault.
Oh no, that definitely was the CIA's fault.
Well, yeah, that's right. Jason Aldean is a CIA
stock, and then you hear the video, and it's a fucking 240 shooting.
Yeah.
Like,
and then there's like multiple guns firing at the same time. Clearly,
he carried 100 guns in a briefcase up into the fucking suite.
Yep, and
also shot through the fucking bulletproof glass.
Shot through the bulletproof glass at the casino, and he only, when you look at the pictures, he only fired like 30 rounds because there were only like 30 shell casings on the floor.
Yeah,
It was it's like a shitty movie about a conspiracy theory that they didn't really iron the details out very well.
What's the name of that fucking social media dickhead that was like, the cops wouldn't give me a gun to defend everybody?
Oh, Bilzerian.
Yeah, Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah, he was trying to. He like, I went up and asked the cop for his gun, and he said no. I'm like, well, what did you think he was gonna say?
I went home and got my gun and came back.
By the time the whole thing was over,
Shut the fuck up, Dan Bilzerian.
What a douche. That guy is a mad. Everyone talks about how cool he is. He was on Rogan, and I watched it, and I'm like, I can't relate to anything this guy says.
I listened to that, what that guy was saying. I like watched that podcast just so I could like laugh at how much of a dickhead that guy was.
He is.
Like,
I remember when he was talking about how happiness was subjective. Do you remember that?
No, the only bits I remember was him talking about dropping out of like buds for SEALs, like SEAL school. And I remember him talking about how he got out of the Navy. Like, apparently he was like a real shitbag Navy guy.
That doesn't
like,
surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about like, how about how happiness is subjective, and he's like, now my dream car, it's like some kind of Porsche or whatever, right? He's like, when I graduated high school, my dad gave me a Dodge Challenger, blah, blah, blah. He goes, if my dad would have just gave me that Porsche, I never would have known real happiness because I would have been maxed out right away. I'm like, dude, literally no one listening can relate to this. Yeah, my dad gave me a $50,000 car.
Even Rogan was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? I remember that part, actually.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. But my dad gave me a $50,000 car so I could know what suffering meant. Like, that's like, no one
Rogan
can relate to
like,
what you're saying.
Huh?
Yeah, he's like, well, Rogan grew up in not poverty, but not a great place either, you know? So, like, I mean, he definitely can't relate to that. Yeah. Like, sorry, no, my dad giving me a Porsche was never something that was on the table.
I know, dude, I think he was trying to tell Rogan about that he made all that money in the fucking like poker game or something. But that
no way.
Bill Zarian's dad is like a financial criminal in Canada or some shit, man.
Yeah.
And he made all his money from his fucking dad. Like,
yeah. He did it. It's the same with that Gary Vaynerchuk guy.
Who's that guy? I don't know who that guy is.
He's that guy. He's always on like YouTube and Instagram screaming at you to hustle and grind. He's always got the beanie on. He's got little buggy eyes like he's fucking like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings.
Really?
He's got the high.
Guy.
The next 10 years of your fucking life are the best 10 years ever. Hustle, grind. And he's like,
what's
screaming.
His name?
Gary Vaynerchuk. Yeah. Yeah. He's
God. I've never heard of this guy before.
Really?
But he looks like a fucking weasel.
Dude, I remember I sat down at a wedding a couple months ago, and I didn't know anyone there, so we just got put at a table, and we sit down, and there's no one at the table knew each other, and this guy across the table, I hear him talking. He's like, he's talking to the guy next to him. He's like, you ever heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? He says, you're not on social media, blah blah blah, throughout the day, then you're not even hustling. And I'm like, oh geez, I need to move. I gotta get out of here.
Hustling, looking at fucking memes. Dude.
When your entire fucking career has been built off telling other people how to succeed and you have no body of work, you are a swindler. Like your whole company, your whole business model and everything is just telling other people how to succeed. You are a scam artist. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, snake oil salesman, man.
Dude, literally, you see like Gary Vaynerchuk, that Grant Cardone, all these like motivational speakers about like business and hustling and shit like that. None of them have done. Yeah, no, exactly. But none of them have done anything outside of forming a business and telling you how to succeed. There's no body of work. There's no evidence that any of the shit works. Now, some of them have made enough money telling you how to be successful to the point where they can go into other lines of work and invest in that, and they've been successful afterwards. But if the initial thing that got them rich was telling you how to get rich, that person is a con artist.
I wish there was a guy that was like like he only became like really successful because he's just like a total like scumbag shark like businessman, and his motivational speeches and stuff are just basically telling you to be a big scumbag.
Just
like,
rip people off.
Yeah, like your employees, fuck them, undercut them, pay them only the industry.
Ship them out to China, outsource the labor,
outsource it to India. You'll never make it if you be fair. Like,
at least that would be real, you know.
Exactly.
At least he's being honest.
You got thousands of people in the fucking stadium, you know, the fucking event center for that shit. Just hearing them telling you to be a fucking scumbag and everything that you do. Well, that's a winner's mindset.
I'm in this podcaster support group that's on Facebook. It's about like how to like grow your podcast like naturally, organically. It gives you tips and people share like what's worked for them and shit. And this lady posts, she goes, so I'm a comedian, blah, blah, blah. I just started my own podcast. I am I'm looking on ways to monetize it as fast as possible. I'm paying $5,000 for a class on monetizing your podcast. I'm like, well, there. She's like, any tips? I'm like, tip number one, get that money back. Put a stop on that check. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do. And someone was like, how do you make money off your podcast? And I went, step one, create a podcast. Step two, create a class called How to Monetize Your Podcast and charge $5,000. Step three, profit.
Literally, dude.
That's like I can't.
That's
like,
a good idea. Like, write that down. That
Yeah.
fucking scumbag guy's like, write that down. That's like him telling you, like, all right, step one, you're gonna start a podcast. Step two, immediately after, start a class. That's gonna make.
That's the whole class is just teaching you how to make another class. Okay, here's my thing. I feel bad for people that get swindled, especially like when you see like the people that get called by like the Indian and Pakistani scammers that are, oh, your internet's down, we need your credit card, $500 to hook it back up, but that kind of shit. You get people that are truly incapacitated and they call them and take advantage of them. When you see full-grown adults like that are willing to drop $5,000 fucking dollars, functioning adults willing to drop $5,000 on a course on how to monetize your podcast, you almost look at that and go, you deserve to lose your money.
Gotta spend money to make money, boys.
Shit. I can't imagine and the person who was teaching the class was, of course, someone I'd never heard of. It's not like it was like Rogan or somebody like that. Like it was somebody you'd never heard of.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the weird thing about podcasts. Like podcasting, though, is like there's a lot of podcasts out there that you've never fucking heard of that do like some very, very like niche thing or some shit, and they get like 1 million fucking listeners every podcast. You know what I mean? You're like, who the fuck are you? That's just like the nature of the internet, man.
Yeah, I mean, like dude, there's a fucking true crime podcast on every street. Like that's the American dream.
That's the girls That's the girl podcast, dude. True crime is like the girl equivalent of Rogan, dude.
No, literally. Like my girlfriend and my mom get together and they talk about the true crime podcast they listen to, and it's like, I'm like, y'all do your thing. Like that's like I've tried to get into them. I just can't. I don't.
And they're really boring, man. Because it's just like at the end of the day, it's like, yep, he killed him. Like I don't know, man. Like I guess I can see the appeal to it, but it's just not my thing. Like,
I mean, everyone's kind of got that like interest in the macabre type thing, where it's like, I mean, don't get me. It is interesting to hear like about how fucked up some of these people were. But it's just not something that I myself can personally sit down and listen to for 2-3 hours.
I can listen to it every once in a while, but like, I don't know, man. It's just like some of the ones are like, you know what I mean? Like they all have that same thing in common, that they're all really fucked up. So it's like after you've listened to like 12 of them, you're just kind of like desensitized to like the fact that a guy like kept a fucking 20 women in a fucking dog kennel. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah, I mean... The guy last week strangled people with fucking hair dryers. Like,
and it still wasn't as bad as January 6th.
Yeah, literally, dude.
I tweeted that on 9/11. I said 9/11 could happen every year and it still wouldn't be as bad as January 6th. And I got attacked from all angles, right? Like there's people from
well
the left,
deserved.
people from the left, they're out there, they're like, January 6th is not to be mocked. And then some, of course, people on the right, you fucking libtard, blah, blah. Like it was January 6th is to be mocked, because I'm sorry, that was fucking hilarious. The whole thing was pretty
hilarious. The whole thing with like the one guy that died shot himself in the balls with a taser is like the funniest thing ever, dude.
There was that, and then
that whole thing was like a South Park sequence.
It was. I always they try to push the insurrection narrative about it, and I have to laugh because like, yeah, they should be arrested and whatever, but at the end of the day, it was a bunch of boomers trespassing. Like that's really
what's really funny too. Did you hear this thing about that happened like over the last week where like the fucking dickheads in like Houston or something like that, like were like the resurrection of JFK or some shit. It was like some
the QAnon thing.
Yeah, it was just like some stupid shit that like
Trump was going to be reinstated.
Yeah,
Trump has been reinstated 17 times since Biden took office.
It was like a live action shit post basically.
Yeah.
Like it was for one, it was like a group of like, I don't know, probably like 30-40 people. So I was in my political science class, and this fucking guy like raised his hand and was like saying something, and then he like brought that up, like, yeah, this huge crowd did this or something like that. Like, do you think this is like showing that the mainstream right is like becoming more and more insane?
It was like
and
12 people.
Well, yeah. So I looked up the picture of the crowd, the big crowd that he mentioned, and it was like, yeah, it was like a small amount. And I just told him, like, I literally said this to him, or like is loud enough to the guy in front of me that he was sitting 2 rows in front of me in the class.
Yeah.
Could hear it. I was like, man, I've seen furry fucking gatherings bigger than this. I guess the mainstream left is just entirely furries now, huh? Yeah, I was just like, you're fucking dumb as shit, man. Like, oh, this huge crowd. Like, why like, if it wasn't for the internet, you wouldn't have even known that happened. Like,
right. Not at all.
Nobody was talking about it. Like, even my professor is a political science professor or like doctor.
Yeah.
Who like is pretty well like in on like the stuff going
Never
on
even
right
heard
now.
of it.
Yeah, he was just like, what?
Yeah. No, it was such a blip on the radar, and they try to paint it like QAnon's this huge movement, and I'm just like, it's really not. It's a bunch of,
like there's more furries than those people out there.
It's a bunch of idiots on the internet. Like, it's really not. It's just fucking dumb. And like my whole thing with like like, bro, you can't, like, I'll take you to like some of these like countries in Africa, and you can see what an actual insurrection is. Because I mean, we're in the United States.
I've been in one before, man. Yeah.
Been in the middle of an insurrection. Dude, we're in the United fucking States. There's 400 million guns in this country. If someone really wanted to stage an insurrection, why were there 0 shots fired from the insurrectionists? Like, the only people that fired were the cops.
Told them, the FBI that instigated it, guy probably told them not to bring any guns.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's what it came out, is there was FBI instigators everywhere. I'm just like people, it's become such a political football to talk about insurrection, and it's a convenient boogeyman for right-wing terror and shit. And it really wasn't that
even
bad.
But it was fine. It was fine when it was at the state level and it was left-wing fucking terrorists
burning the country down.
Literally like taking over blocks in the fucking Seattle. Like,
and
that was fine. As long as it was at the state level. If it's at the federal level, like, holy shit, man, hunt them down, throw them in Guantanamo Bay, as my mom says.
That's exactly. And the left-wing level, we were gaslit by the media. Like, people there's fucking pictures of CNN talking about how the protests are peaceful while a gas station's on fire behind the reporter. Like, that's, it's like we were gaslit into there's no violence. There's no violence. Really?
I think it was a really kind of disingenuous thing to say that the riots were the protests, because I don't think they were.
They weren't.
Those were separate, but. Just to completely turn a blind eye to the fact that shit was going on is foolish as fuck.
They acted like the riots weren't even happening, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rioters,
that's not true.
Yeah, no, it was complete bullshit.
The people in Minnesota burned down a cop station, dude. Right. Or like the police station. I thought that was hilarious, but still, like, but then again, we thought the Capitol riot was fucking hilarious too. Like, we couldn't have just called that the Capitol protests,
right?
Like,
I'm like, dude, you have to, like, I saw tweets that, like, if you think that the Capitol riot is funny, I'm like, no, I think it's hilarious, man. I think that we live in a fucking
lady that was like walking. What the fuck is?
We're acting like that old lady is fucking Guy Fawkes. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's funny. You're some like 95-year-old woman walking around with a little American flag that you stick in your driveway on the 4th of July, and we're acting that doesn't have any teeth. And we're acting like that's, but like she's some revolutionary. I'm like, fucking relax.
And then people want to say like, oh, that those people weren't like being like, they're not getting prosecuted. I mean, like, dude, the FBI's on like a fucking manhunt for all.
They're all going down. Yeah,
they're like all on Facebook. They're like, have you seen this man on like Facebook and shit? The FBI like Facebook pages. I'm like, they have a fucking manhunt going for those people,
and they're doing serious time. Like, it's serious time that they're doing. Like, it's the FBI knows, because they fought, like you said, they instigated it. They know all of them. It's not it's the cat's out of the bag.
They can track all their fucking social media shit, and I don't even know if they were. What's like a boomer way to like fucking get into like a social media group or something? It was on Twitter maybe or something. Some closed Facebook groups. Yeah. Who knows, man?
Well, speaking of riots, it's looking like Kyle Rittenhouse is gonna walk.
Is he?
And yeah, dude, so the prosecution withheld evidence from the defense, and it was a video, an FBI drone that was monitoring the situation, showing him getting attacked and chased. that was in the prosecution.
They couldn't use like the fucking Facebook videos all over the internet as evidence.
This is like damning evidence, and the prosecutions had this like since this thing happened, and they just now turned it over, and like the judge may toss the whole thing now. The judge told the prosecution that they couldn't refer to the people he shot as victims, and he's
Hell
right.
Yeah.
The guy's on video beating him with a skateboard.
The other guy had a gun.
You have one guy trying to take his rifle, one guy beating him with a skateboard, and another guy pulling a gun out of his bag while he's on the ground disarmed to shoot him execution style. That's not a victim. The only reason that this is even going to court is because it's a political thing. If three guys if three guys were to attack you in the street and that happened and you shot them, you wouldn't go to jail.
If this had happened between 4 black guys, nobody would even know about it.
No, it was the victims are all white too. That's the thing. I think
one of them was like looked like he is like South American white or some shit, like fake white.
Was that the child molester?
I don't know, man.
Because one of them diddled his little cousin. I knew that.
That's not surprising.
Because they were all dirtbags. One of them diddled his little cousin. One of them beat his wife, and the other was like a serial burglar. Like none of them were good people. Like in all honesty,
the typical left wing fucking guys. Yeah.
I mean, it's
that's not fair. That's not fair to say.
Not protester, but rioter.
That's the kind of people that would attack a guy with a skateboard.
A kid, yeah. I mean, in all honesty,
how old was Kyle Rittenhouse?
16.
16.
And in Wisconsin,
old enough to go across the border with a gun and
well,
start going.
in Wisconsin, if an adult that purchased it gives you the gun, you can carry it. It's some hunting law that's a loophole that applies to the city. If the city doesn't have a carry ordinance, which Kenosha doesn't, I guess. And it's I mean, like you got people attacking a child. At the end of the day, man, I'm gonna give you a hot take. Kyle Rittenhouse cleaned up the fucking street. Like that's the world is a better place without those 3 people in it.
I think the whole thing is just what happens when you like fucking celebrate riots going on.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what happens at riots is fucking chaos happens and people get fucking killed.
Yeah.
It happened in Omaha, dude.
Yep.
Like
you had the Jake Gardner thing, and
dude, that's what happens. That's why people generally don't like riots, is because people like chaos happens and people get fucking killed over it.
Well, the difference, Kyle Rittenhouse is a 16-year-old kid, and I'll say with my experiences with Jake Gardner lived for that chaos. So he was at the end of the day, I still think he would have walked though. I think with the video evidence.
16-year-old is like an old kid. Like there's child soldiers for the Taliban that kill the US soldiers that are younger than 16 and did it like way more badass than Kyle Rittenhouse did.
I remember there was videos pictures trending like memes in gun groups making fun of the guys that are like you have to have like a $6,000 AR, and they're like Kyle Rittenhouse brained 3 guys with iron sights. With iron sights, and it was like one of the cheap brands. I don't even remember which one it was, but it was like a Springfield or something like that. But yeah,
that's hilarious.
There was I always love those gun snobs in the groups like that, where it's like they're like, if you I used to go into
don't be a gun snob, be a gun Bob.
Yeah. Well, I used to go into like AR-15 groups and stuff like that just to troll people and rile them up. And I would be like, if your AR-15 costs less than $3,000, you're a fucking poor. People would just freak out. They're like, well, I got $3,000 worth of training. And I'm like, no, you don't. You do not have $3,000.
Why are you spending $3,000 on training, dick fat?
Yeah,
fucking idiot. Just go buy some ammo and just go to the fucking range.
Right.
Nuts.
I mean, you see these people that get like training from like James Yeager and shit like that. Have you seen that guy on YouTube?
I'm sure I know a guy. I know people like that. Like I get it. Like he's probably like a fucking ex-SWAT team guy or some dumb shit.
He was in the military, and then he was like a contractor or whatever in Afghanistan or some shit. And there's like video of him like fleeing from a firefight or something.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah, but like he abandoned other people.
Oh, right. Hell yeah, dude.
And he's like that. I think I don't want to make it. I saw the video years ago. Go watch it for yourselves. I don't want to accuse the guy of doing something.
He just fucking turned tail and ran. He's like, fucking fuck this, dude.
But he has like really expensive like combat training classes you can take, and I'm just
combat training. Hell yeah.
Like dude. I know people like Like I know people that are like fucking like they work in like IT and they're like, yeah, I need to take like a combat like a Navy SEAL class. I'm like, no, dude, like don't get me wrong. There's some classes like the gun range by my house. They teach classes about like if someone breaks into your house in the middle of the night and like trying to maneuver in the dark. I lost
going to classes about like I don't know, going to classes about like learning how to like sight different like
Sight
scopes
weapons,
or something. Yeah, sight in like iron sights or some shit would be cool. Like even going to a class and learning how to like to take apart your weapon, like your rifle, like I was really, really deep into it would be good. And then like maybe taking like some because I mean like marksmanship shit is like as long as you have a guy that knows how to shoot with you or something, or like which typical ranges do. I mean, dude, you just gotta go put fucking rounds down range, like to get better at shooting.
Practice. It's like comedy. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get. As long as you're learning from your mistakes and correcting it, you'll get better.
Like you can look up all the kind of shit that you need to know about weapons, like on the fucking internet, man. Like the internet's like the hub of fucking information.
Dude, literally, like anytime I get a new gun, the first thing I do is I take it apart, and there's a YouTube video for it. You know, like there's.
And if you really want to put your money where your mouth is about doing combat shit, you need to go get a fucking some plates and a plate carrier, and you need to go get shooting with your fucking plate carrier on. Yeah, that shit's hard as fuck. Like,
dude, those plate carriers are fucking heavy. Like,
yeah, they are heavy, man. You need to go get like in physical shape too, because like I'm telling you, you ain't running no fucking, you ain't fighting no combat, not being able to run fucking a mile.
That's the other thing, man. Is you get people that can't make it up a flight of stairs without getting winded, and they're talking about a revolution. I'm like, dude. Before you fuck the guns, fuck the body armor, fuck the training, fuck everything. Go to the gym. Go fucking figure out how to run a mile without throwing up before you even consider any of that shit. Like that, you're way behind where you need to be. Like you can't be 400 pounds.
I mean, you can be 400 pounds if you could fucking run with it, but then just keep in mind that if you get your ass shot, ain't nobody fucking pulling your ass into cover to
we're not like
get on you or something.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
If I was fighting with a guy that was 400 pounds, I'd just be like, bro, like, I can't do nothing, man. You're gonna have to wait.
Don't have a heart. Well, no, they're gonna have a heart attack in the middle of the shootout. Is what's gonna happen. That's it's like, but no, that's my thing, dude.
Even guys like built like fucking Dave Bautista out there, you know, I mean, like a 350-pound bodybuilder type guy. I'm like, bro, like you're too fucking heavy. Like I'm not carrying your ass. I don't care if it's all muscle, like it's still fucking heavy. Like
we watched his movie that came out on Netflix, Army of the Dead. That new one
really?
They've been boosting. It was terrible.
It was terrible. Dave Bautista's not really that good of an actor.
It wasn't even. No, he wasn't a good actor, but it wasn't even the acting. It was the plot line. Just like we fucking like. I remember because I woke up and I couldn't sleep. It was like a Sunday morning. Then I went out and made coffee and I started watching that because I was just looking for something to watch. And Mia came out about a third of the way through the movie, and she just starts watching it with me. And by the time it was over, we were both just like, this is the worst movie I've seen in 10 years. This was terrible. It was the most unsatisfying ending. I will leave it at that. If you guys really want to go watch it, go fucking watch it. But like it's seriously, I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy. It was bad.
Damn, dude.
Don't watch it. No, those wrestlers are always, The Rock is like the exception. They're always terrible actors, like Steve Austin.
I don't think they're necessarily terrible actors. I think they're just like not like being a supporting cast type shit is like the best that they
not the main
most of the time offer.
The Rock is the exception to the rule.
The Rock is an exception to the rule, and even then, like he does a lot of like really cheesy movies and stuff. I think he's just done it for so long now. Like if you go watch like the first movie, like you go watch the Scorpion King, dude.
I loved those movies growing up though. Like as a kid, I loved the Scorpion King, the Mummy, and all that shit. No, that's
I like the Mummy movies too, man. They're good.
One wrestler who is such a good actor, you can't tell if it's real or not, was Chris Benoit. So
no, he actually really wasn't that good of like a on the mic and stuff like that. He's just good of technical wrestler. Like
I remember I tweeted one time, I was drunk and I tweeted, ask Chris Benoit's kid how fake the WWE is. And this guy replies, he's like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
Like I ask myself that every day, buddy.
I'll I'll never know. It's like, so we gotta wrap it up. I got stuff to do. I gotta go get the fucking Patriots game rolling when Dad's coming over. So
Yep.
you got anything you want to plug?
No, not necessarily. You know me, I'm busy. I'm like Steve right now from Blue's Clues. Like I'm doing school right now.
Oh yeah,
so
you're Steve. I didn't forget about you.
Too busy, man, with that.
We wanted to make a YouTube skit when that video came out. It just never manifested. Justin Healy was going to play like a cracked out Steve Burns, and he was going to come on talking about like how he joined the military or something, and he fucking committed war crimes and starts going off about like the military industrial complex and 9/11 was an inside job and stuff like that. But instead of going to college, Steve joined the Marines and just committed war crime. He firebombed the village.
That's what I'm saying, man. That video came out, a little too coincidentally, like after they've officially ended being in Afghanistan.
Yep,
so,
it sure did. Yep, Steve's like, I don't take it personally that I had to leave, but there were children that needed to be hit with a flamethrower. So.
If he rolls up his sleeves, like he's got all sorts of tattoos.
Yeah, you see like
there.
the military ink and shit like.
Yeah, the fucking double sleeves and shit.
Do you remember when that was a rumor about Mr. Rogers?
He actually was in the no, he wasn't in the military.
No.
Bob Ross was in the Navy.
Ross was there was an internet rumor. It was one of those email chains like your grandma and your aunt used to exchange with each other about Mr. Rogers it wasn't that he was in the military. He was
a Marine scout sniper. The rumor was that he was a Marine scout sniper
with a high kill count, and he wore his sweater to cover up his tattoos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like easily debunked. They're like, no, like he was making TV shows when this was supposedly
when the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah. It was like, he was not. Mr. Rogers was not a Marine sniper, and that's how
that was the rumor, is that he was a scout sniper in Vietnam.
Yep. That's how we'll end it. All right.
Mr. Rogers was not. That's the episode title there. Mr. Rogers was not a scout sniper.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Remember, I'll post the link in there again. On Eventbrite, you can get tickets to Harmful Content Comedy this Friday, November 12th at Wired Pub. Use the code word BREAD, BREAD, get $3 off your tickets. So, anything else you want to plug?
Go to that show, man.
It'll be fun.
I'll say like Wired. Those shows that go on at Wired are always really fun, and it's a big venue. The place is really cool. Like, go out to that show, guys.
And there's very much a culture war in comedy right now, and David Terrell Green is one of the good guys in that culture war. So come out and support him. He's our headliner. So
yeah,
it's good and evil. The sides have been drawn. It's clear who's good and who's evil. So we'll end it with that. All right.
The inevitability.
Yeah, we'll end it with that. All right, peace the fuck out, y'all.
Deuces, y'all.